Hey Breesties, welcome back to my channel and episode 2 of From Regular to Her, How to Glow Up by 2026. Hopefully you've checked out part 1 by now where I covered all the basics, and please let me know in the comments which tips you've implemented or if you've implemented all of them and how they have affected your life thus far. I'm super excited for this episode because we're going to be talking about one of the most important parts of glowing up, and that is mindset. So please stay tuned because we're about to get into what it takes to glow up in the mind. Right, y'all, so please get comfortable, grab a snack, get with a pillow, whatever you need to do to get comfy and cozy, because this is gonna be one of them ones. Okay, we're really gonna deeply dive into mindset and why it is so important and different things that you can do to start changing what's happening up here so that your life outside can reflect. Okay, so let's get into the first topic, which is awareness and self-image. How you talk to yourself and the thoughts that come into your mind that you choose to entertain or dive deeper into. You know, I'm sure you guys can relate. Maybe you have thoughts that you kind of spiral down and then you realize, oh, maybe it wasn't that serious, or maybe I should have focused on this instead of that. That all has to do with awareness and self-image. What I gave you is an example of a regular mindset, which is when you're worrying about things that aren't really that important, or maybe you're in a loop about something that happened in the past that just can't allow you to look forward or to like overcome that obstacle mentally. If you're talking to yourself negatively, that can really impact, and that's also an example of a regular mindset. If you feel like everything is happening to you, if you feel that no one likes you or wants to be around you, these are all mindset things. And I'm not saying that to say that these things aren't true, but what I'm saying is that when you give energy to negativity, it multiplies, and that goes for your mind as well. If you're constantly focusing on the negative aspects of your day, guess what? 9 times out of 10, you're gonna look at that day as being a bad day. I actually had a really good example brought to me where basically it was like a scenario, right? So it was like, if you were to think about all the red cars that passed by today, how many passed by? I'm just gonna take a moment for pause, because how many passed by? To me, I have no idea because I don't look for red cars. But if I was asked that question and then I went out for a drive, you best believe I'm gonna be looking around looking for the red cars and counting them so that when I get that question, I know exactly what to say. By doing that, I'm putting effort and focus into the red cars. And that is a perfect example of mindset. It's whatever you put your attention to, that's what you're going to consume and what's going to absorb your mental state. So if, like I said before, if you're thinking about things that are negative, if you have that mindset where you feel like everything bad happens to you all the time, nothing good happens, your outer reality is going to reflect that, and you're going to subconsciously look for those negative things to validate that thought that you have, or in other words, a belief. Because when you think things so much, they become beliefs. Beliefs become mindset, mindset becomes action, and so on and so forth. All right, so now I'm going to talk about how to regulate those thoughts and regulate the self-talk. What helped me so much was when I was thinking or when I was processing thoughts, because I'll be honest with you, I'm going to keep it 100. I was one of those people, and I'm still one of those people who talks to themselves. Sometimes I talk to myself in my head where I'm just like, oh my gosh, girl, can you, and sometimes I actually talk out loud, and it actually helps me process thoughts because I am one of those people who just is constantly thinking, right? So that's why I do it. But what I decided to do is to talk to myself like a friend. So I'm always just like, oh my gosh, friend, da 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 da, and I'm just talking to myself because I do think of myself as a friend. But just doing that little shift, man, it made such a difference in my life, because I'm no longer talking to myself like I'm mad at myself or I'm annoyed with myself, I'm irritated with myself, I'm talking to myself like a dear friend, because that's who I want to be to myself. I want to be a dear friend. I want to have a lot of value in myself, even from the core, you know? So that really helped me so much. And I also just kind of took the time to focus on who I wanted to become. So one of the things that I really love to embody is just a confident woman, you know? So I'm looking to confident women. I'm on YouTube listening to videos that involve confident women. I'm researching what a confident woman does. I'm seeing what I can do to slowly become that confident woman. In other words, I'm trying to figure out, how do I become her? Who are the people that are seen as her, and how can I implement what they're doing into what I'm doing so that I can too become her? And I want y'all to become her, which is why I made this video. So even if you're not a her, if you're a him, whoever is listed as him, you know, you just follow suit. You watch what they do. You look at who they interact with. You, even if it's down to the T, what they wear, how they do their hair, how they talk. I mean, we don't want to be stalkers with it, you know, but if there's somebody you look up to who you want to be more like, I don't think there's anything wrong with studying them, learning what they do, and really putting forth the discipline and the effort to become like them. Because of course we cannot be people. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're just trying to have a reference to what we're trying to become in the best way possible. So of course, I don't want y'all emulating somebody just because they have money or status. I want you to really look at people who have similar lifestyles than what you want to have in a healthy way. So that's what I'll definitely say about self-awareness and image. Also, what helped me a lot was affirmations. If you have trouble finding affirmations, you can go on Pinterest, Instagram. There's so many places you can go for affirmations. I mean, any social media, you can definitely find some affirmations. I actually work really closely with Boss Baddie Talk. That is on Instagram. I will put it above. And their whole page is motivational quotes for women trying to boss up in their life. And no, it doesn't mean that everyone has to be an entrepreneur, but just to have that mindset, that go-getter, confident woman, rich girl energy, soft life mindset has helped me so much. Just a little example of a page that I like to go to for motivation. Just consuming that positivity as much as possible is really gonna make a huge difference. Another thing you can do with regards to affirmation is put some on your wall. Put some on your mirror. Wherever you frequent, put it there so that you can read it from time to time. What's gonna happen is you're just gonna randomly just glance towards it and read it and remind yourself why you put it there and who you wanna be. And it is just such an amazing tool when you're trying to become her. Another thing that's great is journaling. Journaling is so important. Now, I'll be honest, guys, I don't journal every day. I really like to journal to get my thoughts out. So when there's something on my mind that I just can't get out, that's when I'm gonna write it down. But if you're one of those people that wants to do the day-to-day journaling, that's great as well, because you're reprogramming your mind and you're documenting your growth. I've also seen people, you know, write down what they really want like 100 times, because what that is doing is that is teaching your mind, basically reparenting your mind to focus on that thing. You know, for example, someone could be like, I want to make $10,000 every month. You know, they write it down 100 times. I want to make $10,000 every month. I want to make $10,000 every month, etc., etc., etc. Eventually, that is what their mind is going to program. And next thing you know, they're focusing on, okay, how can I make that $10,000 a month? What is it going to take to make that $10,000 a month? What actions can I implement to get that 10K a month? And eventually they're going to find it because they have that determination, they have cut out distractions, and they are laser focused on that goal. Mindset is so powerful, guys. Like, it is literally the heart of becoming her. Mindset. Well, in other words, the brain. All right, so the next one is going to be breaking limiting beliefs. You know how in the first part I was telling you that thoughts become beliefs, beliefs become actions, actions become character, etc., etc. You have to make sure that your beliefs are on point. I don't want to hear, I can't, I'm not ready, I'm not enough, I'm not, we don't need that in 2026. You don't need that in 2026 because that's going to keep you stagnant. Okay, I want you to really challenge your limiting beliefs because the truth is, you're on this earth and you are so, so capable. You have the same 24 hours as the most successful person in this world. And what that means is not, oh, well, because they're lucky, or oh, because no. That means that if they're capable, you are absolutely capable. And just to add on, this is a great time to research maybe some, successful people. And when I say successful, I don't always mean money. I mean, if you're a parent who wants to be a better parent, if you are a career woman and you want to, climb that corporate ladder. I mean, there's so many ways to look at this. But the most important thing is to make sure that you take I can't, I'm dumb, I'm not worthy, all of those negative things, and eliminate them from your vocabulary because they don't belong. They do not belong. What you're going to do next is you're going to take those limiting beliefs, you're going to write them down. Once you write them down, I want you to look at them, however many they are, read them if you want to. Then I want you to go one by one. And next to each limiting belief, I want you to draw an arrow. And then I want you to put a empowering belief, even if you don't believe it yet. So for example, if I say I'm dumb, right? My arrow would be, I am very intelligent and resourceful. Because wouldn't that counteract me being dumb? And there you go, limiting belief gone. It's such a amazing little tool just to write things down. I swear, it's more powerful than you think. Then after you've done that, I want you to surround yourself with an environment that nurtures that empowering belief. For example, like I said, if my limiting belief is I'm dumb and I wrote I am very intelligent and resourceful, the next thing I would do is think about the ways that I want to be more intelligent. So me, for example, I want to be better at financial literacy, right? Because in that sense, I could tighten up. I could be better about it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to seek books. I'm going to look for maybe a mentor. I'm going to maybe enroll in a course. I'm going to take those steps to make sure that that limiting belief does not exist ever again. Okay? Like I said, that's just an example. If you say, I can't swim. Okay, I'm just gonna take it all the way out of success and everything. Maybe you can't swim, right? Get a swimming instructor. You can even go on YouTube and learn how to swim. There's just so many ways and resources in this world that are going to allow you to overcome those obstacles if you truly, truly want to. But the point is, you have to want to. The only person that's going to do this for you is you. No one's going to come to save you. No one is going to hold your hand. And if it doesn't come from you, it's not going to benefit you, right? Also, when it comes to surrounding yourself in those environments that nurture those empowering beliefs, sometimes people around you are giving you those limited beliefs. So definitely look into that. I actually saw this really, really good video. I don't know if I can link it below, or if I could link it above, but if I can, I'm definitely gonna play it because it's so, so important. But basically, they were saying that you should look at your most recent call log, right? And look at everyone who you've talked to and decide if they withdraw or they deposit. And I know that usually is how we talk about money, right? But the way he explained it is look at everyone and ask yourself, do they withdraw from your energy? Which means, do they take your energy? Do they suck your energy? Are they an energy vampire? Or do they deposit? Do they nurture your energy? Do they bring more energy to you? Do they excite you? Do they make you feel good about yourself? That is so, so powerful in itself. And it kind of goes back to the basics. I kind of touched on that, but I think that is a really good exercise just to really make sure that the people around you are nurturing that empowering belief environment that you are in and planning to stay in. All right, so this is probably people's least favorite, but the most important, and that is discipline and motivation. And I bunched them together because really they come in a pair. You cannot have discipline without motivation. You cannot have motivation without discipline. They really go together. But basically, you have to find your why. Okay? Why do you want to be successful? Why do you want more money? Why do you want to learn how to swim? Once you find the reason inside you that makes you feel like you want to get this accomplished, remind yourself of that. Because it's going to get difficult. There are going to be times where you're not going to see the fruit. Actually, it's going to be a while until you see the fruit. That is the last thing that grows from a seed. Do not forget that. If anything, write it down. The fruit is the last thing that comes from the seed, which means you have to have the seed. You have to plant the seed. You have to nurture the seed, water the seed, wait for it to sprout, grow, etc., right? So you need to know your why, because that is what's going to keep you going on nights where you feel like you want to give up. The next thing is the importance of discipline. This kind of goes back to part 1 where I was talking about, your morning routine, your daily routine, being productive, all those things. That all has to do with discipline. If you're trying to lose weight, discipline is eating the right things, right? I talked about that in part 1. It's about doing the things that need to be done to get you where you need to go. It's that simple, but it's still difficult because you actually have to have the action behind that, But once you master discipline, you're going to be unstoppable. Along with discipline is something that I actually used to use when I was younger. The saying is KISS, K-I-S-S. And no, it doesn't mean mwah. No, it's none of that. It means keep it simple, stupid. It's actually something that they use a lot in the military. And what that means is take a task and break it down until it's so simplified that all you can think about doing is just doing the first step. And after the first step is the second step. The second step is the third step. Doing that helped me so much in my discipline, motivation, and productivity, because it taught me how to downsize and not get overwhelmed when things seem out of reach. So if you ever feel like that, just remember to kiss it. Keep it simple, stupid. Also, on top of that, habit stacking, right? So, for example, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to go to the gym more, exercise more, start by putting out your gym clothes. It's really that simple. Put out your gym clothes. You're going to wake up in the morning, you're going to see those gym clothes, and you're going to be like, oh yeah, I set that intention. Let me follow up with it. Then you're going to follow up with putting them on, right? Then you're going to follow up with maybe getting in the car and going to the gym or starting your workout video at home. You see how the stacking happens and how much easier it gets once you just start the first one? That's habit stacking, and it's going to help you a lot in the long run with anything you're trying to do. All right, y'all, this is a big one, right? And that's shifting from that lack mindset to an abundant mindset. A lot of us struggle with it, me included, okay? It's really hard sometimes to go from feeling like you don't have enough to trusting that you're gonna have more than what you asked for or need. And again, it's all about the mindset, right? So the first step is to stop focusing on what you don't have, okay? I'm talking about the clothes. I'm talking about the lifestyle, the relationship, whatever. Stop focusing on it. Because when you're holding on to something you want so tight, it actually keeps you from getting it. Because all you're doing is consuming yourself with that lack of you not having it, rather than the game plan on how you're gonna get it. The next thing I'm going to lead with is to practice gratitude, okay? Be happy for what you have. Be happy for that job, okay? Be happy for the ability to put food on the table, gas in the car. All right, these are little things that we take for granted every day. Be happy for clean water, guys. Like, it really is that deep. Sometimes we're so focused on what we don't have that we don't even acknowledge what we do have. We woke up this morning, guys. That already is a blessing in itself. We are breathing right now. Like, if you break it down to that, the very minimal thing, and go from there when it comes to thinking about the things you're grateful for, acknowledging the things you have, because you are very blessed. And even if you need to write down the ways that you're very blessed, that's even better, because now you are visualizing it and actually putting the intention of gratitude on a piece of paper, which again, I say, writing things out is super, super powerful. It's amazing what being grateful will do for your life. The next thing is, I need you thinking bigger. You remember that meme? Think big. Think big. I'm not gonna say the whole thing because I don't know. I'm not into cussing anymore, guys. But I love the message, because yes, we need to think bigger. Okay? I want you to take the dream you have now and I want you to multiply it by 5. What does that look like for you? I'll just give an example. Let's just say, you know, my ambition is to have a makeup brand, right? If I times it by 5, that would look like having a makeup brand in every makeup store, right? Next, I want you to times it by 10. Okay? So in this example, let's just say timesing it by 10 would be, you know, I'm in every store in the world. You see what we did there? We took a dream, we multiplied it, we visualized it, and then we multiplied it some more and visualized it again. So it's just an example to show you that the sky is the limit. And whatever your dreams are, make them bigger. Why not? You know, I love the quote where it was like, dream big, God can afford it. Because yes, absolutely. Like, it is absolutely possible. We see it every day. And I go back to Boss Baddie Talk because she literally posts people who are doing it. Yeah, they're your favorite celebrities and icons and influencers, but they are still a person just like you and me, right? They were born, probably had to go to school. Like, there's not much difference except for that they kept going at what they wanted. So if you need any daily motivation, inspiration, definitely check her out. This next one is a little more external, but still very, very important to mindset, and that is protect your energy. Okay? This means having boundaries with people, family, social media, and old versions of yourself. Whatever you see in your life where you could maybe strengthen those boundaries, I want you to do it. And even better, think about what you want to do and who you want to be in 2026. And think about if the boundaries that you have in place right now with the people in your life are going to nurture that expectation. In other words, are they going to enhance that expectation? I want you to learn how to say no and not feel bad. That is super, super key, guys. And I'll just speak on myself. I come from a big family. I do. And a lot of my relatives are older. So it's like, even though they're not my parents, like I kind of look at them like my parents. And so when they would ask me something, sometimes it's hard to be like, no, sorry. And it took me time. But it's definitely been understood that I have boundaries and I'm going to use them, you know? So please don't be afraid. You are entitled to the word no. That is your right with anyone. And if you need to come and look at this video again, please do. Because you are absolutely 100% entitled to say no anytime you want to. So I want you to use it. And when it comes to protecting your energy, This also means to make sure that you're in the right environment and have boundaries for the environments that you don't need to be in. For example, if you have friends who maybe like to hang out in a certain part of town that you know is not good for you, maybe you guys are always in trouble, maybe people, rope you into things, whatever it is. Okay, I don't know your life. I'm not judging. I'm just giving an example. But yeah, have those boundaries. Environment is so important, y'all. You have no idea the effect of positive and negative that an environment can do for you. And my want for you and goal for you is to make sure you are in an environment that nurtures your future self. All right, y'all. So a big part of mindset shifting is to strengthen your faith. If you're a spiritual person, a religious person, I need you to really work on your faith and your relationship with God or spirit or universe, destiny, whatever you want to call the highest power. I need you to strengthen it because that is what's going to get you through. Okay? One of my most devastating moments last year was actually the moment that I got closer to my spirituality. And thinking back, it's like, wow, if this wouldn't have happened this way, it may not have been this way. And then this, it just keeps going. But it goes back to that mindset of everything is happening for the greater good. And so I need you to strengthen your faith. If that means going to church more, do that. If that means reading the Bible, do that. Whatever it looks like to you, I want you to do that. Meditation, listening to vibrations. There's so many things you can do to build your faith, strengthen that trust in the higher power, because it is there and it is going to help you so much. Next, I want you to put some effort towards that faith, okay? It's funny because I was just watching The Princess and the Frog. I'm a big kid, y'all, but it had a good message. And Tiana's dad was like, you know what? You can wish on that star, baby girl, but it's only going to take you part of the way. You got to put that one foot in front of the other and move like that spirit's behind you, because it is, but you have to be along with it. Okay. This is not a free pass. This is not a free trip. Okay. You got to put your effort to it. It's not going to fall in your lap. All right. You have to put forth that work, that action, that effort, but it is going to be a huge benefit for you. I guarantee it. And just because, I'm just in a Gabby mood today, but it was just so cute because Ice Spice's interview, Kiki was asking her like, so girl, did you think you was going to make it? Like, how did you do it? What was your mindset? She said, oh, faith, trust, and pixie dust. I was like, I know that's right. Because you really can't do nothing without faith, okay? Faith, trust, and pixie dust, okay? You just have to trust and get to it. Get to work. Because it's going to happen if you just stay the course. And that leads to this one right here. And I've kind of been alluding to it a little bit in the other reasons, but I'm going to give it its own moment because, I like to do that. But keep in mind that it's not going to be all roses and daisies down your journey. Okay? There's going to be moments where you want to break. There's going to be moments where you think no one cares. There's going to be moments where you're not going to see the effort equal the finances. And you have to trust that that is okay and things are going to work out, because they are. So in other words, trust the process. Okay? Rome wasn't built in a day, neither is your goal being accomplished. It just is what it is. Okay? If things were automatic and instant, first of all, I'd be scared because nothing's instant. And secondly, how are you going to appreciate the journey if you don't have moments where you fall down? If you don't have moments where you are at a standstill? That's what shows you if you really want it. A setback is for a major comeback. Okay? What Cardi say? I fall 9 times, but I get up 10. Hello. And sometimes it takes that. Sometimes it does take 9 times. And sometimes you get up on that 10 and you stay up. So please, do not lose faith. and trust the process. You ever seen that guy? He was like a little meme, and he was like a miner, and he was mining, and he was just about to get to the diamond, and he turned around. And it's just, it's a little illustration. So you see him turn around, you see him all pissed off, and the diamond was right there if he just would have done one more swing. Don't be that. Don't lose your giant diamond because it's not coming fast enough. Because it's there. You just have to keep on going. All right, so since this is episode 2 on mindset, I'm going to give y'all a little bit of homework. All right, so I'm really just going to reiterate what we've been talking about. So what I want you to do is definitely list the limiting beliefs, and I want you to put next to it the empowering belief next to it. I want you to journal every day if you can, or at least once a week, because I'm more of a once a week girl, I ain't gonna lie. But if it helps you to do every day, do that. I'm only going to make this process better for you. I want you to commit to one her habit of the week. I don't care if you go back to episode 1 and implement one of those, or if you are going to implement one, a few, or all of these, but I want you to commit. Honestly, I would love if you did every single one, but I know that this takes time, and that's why I like this, because you can always come back to it if you ever feel like maybe you missed something, or you just want to refresh what I said. The thing I want you to do is comment what you are going to be working on. Share with me your goals for 2026, or the routines that you're implementing, what you maybe need to work on, whatever it is. I just want you guys to let me know what's up in your world. I would love to talk to you about it and give some more advice if y'all want it. Thank you so much. And also, just a little tidbit, guys, I made it to 300 subscribers. Woo! I am just elated, guys. I didn't know it was gonna happen that fast. I mean, I knew I was like really close, but I don't know, it just caught me by surprise. And again, I just want to say thank you so much. I might do like a little photo shoot or something. I really want to document this moment because this is a huge moment to me. It kind of goes back to the mindset, because yes, it's a little win, a little something, but I'm gonna celebrate it like it's a big win, because heck yeah, it is, So if you guys have a win that you want to share with me, definitely comment that below as well, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, Breesties.